file. You know what that is. It's the equivalent of the local.xml, quite simple. And then memcache. That configuration will depend on the extension you are using, if you're using memcache or if you're using memcache. It's pretty simple. The same part is pretty much the same. On one you can use the TCP port, the other one not. That is quite simple, you know. And then we deploy the Win production mode by running Magento deploy mode set production. Pretty simple, pretty regular stuff. This is what I call the Magento 2 best practices: Redis, memcache, Varnish, deploying static files, and production mode. So no big deal, nothing too strange. Now, production mode has a better performance because all the static files are populated into the pub static directory. And unlike the developer mode, it compiles code. It's super important to understand that the production mode is intended to be used for production sites, and developer mode is intended to be used on sites who are not taking orders or accepting live traffic. Now, I work in a hosting company, and 80% of the time we see sites running developer mode in production sites, which is like super bad. The performance is super slow. It seems like now when splitting documentation, we ask for that, we ask for Magento dev docs, please use it. Everything is there, it's super important, the documentation is really nice, and if you find any mistakes, go to GitHub and try to correct that. These guys are working for us, so we actually asked for better documentation. Now we have it, so please use it. Now, to keep this setup relatively simple, I installed Varnish, Redis, memcache, and Apache on the same physical server. I know I can get a better performance by installing these servers someplace else in different physical servers, but then that will add some complexity to the way I need to maintain this setup. Now, I'm going to try to explain how I did the benchmarking, but then again, it's really important for you not to trust any benchmark you see online. If you have any doubts, try to do the test again. If you can't, ask the maintainer to give you more info, and if they don't give you more info, then probably the benchmark is fake. It's that simple. You need to be able to reproduce any benchmark online. And if you can't, then it's probably fake. It's that simple. Now, benchmarking data without context has little value in my opinion, so that is why I want you to understand how we did this and why we did this. To do the actual testing, we use Siege. Siege has a lot of haters. So, we all know Siege is not an absolute benchmarking tool, but I really think it remains useful to see how a software change impacted in our stack. What does that mean? Using the same hardware, I changed the software, and then I did the test before and after. That's pretty simple, pretty standard, but then Siege is not going to tell us how many people can be on your side at once, which is what most people want to know, but it's going to tell us how a change we did in the configuration, how the different software we use can change the performance in our site. With the help of Ashley's router, I did a sitemap, then 50 users for 50 seconds with the sitemap, 1 minute for the first test to chill out the site. Then I did 5 runs at 1 minute intervals. As I told you, we won the cache before. I did this 3 times for PHP 5.6 and 3 times for PHP 7. I used 50, 100, and 300 concurrent users for 60 seconds with and without Varnish. For all these tests, I did around 500,000 transactions. All the results are already on GitHub. You can go and check all the outputs we got. So if you want to check that, I would really like to do it. Before showing you the results, I will try to explain how a Siege output looks like. This is how it looks like. I'm going to be using 3 metrics, which is the response time, the transactions, and the transactions per second. If you have any doubts about that, you can ask me later. It's pretty simple. And then, to start, I'm going to show you the PHP 5.6 transactions, and I'm going to try to compare all the other results with that. So I'm going to be using that as a base. PHP 5.6. I got with and without Varnish. For 50 users, 50 transactions a second, 100 users, 70 transactions a second, and for 300 users, around 70 transactions a second. Total transactions, I'm not going to say all the numbers, you can check the charts, this will be online shortly. And then the response time. This chart is really important because if you check the first 2 charts, it's pretty simple. You say, oh, okay, this is working, but then when we got 300 concurrent users, the response time spiked to almost 4 seconds. So that's a performance degradation, you know. Without this variable, we wouldn't know this is going south because like everything is working, the charts look pretty nice, but then 4 seconds of response time, we are losing sales. That's pretty clear. So I'm gonna move to the same test with PHP 5.6 and Varnish. You can see a difference here. I'm gonna try to explain why it changed. Transaction rate, 50 users, 100 users, 300 users. The difference is pretty big. This is a comparison between the transaction rate for PHP 5.6 and PHP 5.6 with Varnish. If you want to know the numbers, this is pretty clear. The difference was almost 3 times higher for 100 users. For 50 users, it's almost double. And for 300 users, it was almost 8 times faster, higher. Now, this is Varnish. You know Varnish can mask problems, you know this can be bad if the code is bad, but then again, this is a Magento 2 vanilla. So if you have issues, you can go ask Anton. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, something bad. It looks pretty nice if you ask me. Then, same with the transactions. With 300 concurrent users, the transactions handled were almost 9 times with Varnish. With 100 concurrent users, the transactions were 5 times with Varnish. And with 50 concurrent users, the transactions doubled. The conclusion of this is that Varnish was able to run 9 times the transactions PHP 5.6 alone can take. That means this is faster. It doesn't mean you are going to get 5 times the transactions running checkouts and stuff like that, because most of the checkout pages are on HTTPS, which Varnish doesn't like a lot. I'm going to explain that later. So please don't take these results as a norm. If you have any doubts, please go and reproduce this, try to do your own test again. Then, the Varnish response time. Remember, this variable was about 4 seconds. This really flat line over here is the response time with Varnish. That's almost 1/10 of a second. Now, that doesn't mean we are going to get a page load of 1/10 of a second. It only means the time to first byte, which is what Siege test was really low. What does that mean? With 300 concurrent users, the response time was almost 400 times faster. Again, it doesn't mean we are going to get 400 times faster page loads. This is only the time to first byte. With 100 concurrent users, the response time is 9 times faster with Varnish, and then with 50 concurrent users, the response time was 50 times faster with Varnish. Again, it doesn't mean we're going to get load pages of 1/10 of a second. That's really important to understand, because most people will go out and say, oh, okay, this guy was saying, yo, you got 500 times faster pages with Varnish, and that's not true. This is only a time to first byte. Now let's go to PHP 7. Same test, the transaction rate, and this is PHP 7 versus the transaction rate. For 300 concurrent users, the transaction rate was almost 5 times higher with Varnish. With 100 concurrent users, the transaction rate was almost 2 times, and with 50 concurrent users, it was almost 2 times too. The total transactions, it's 300 concurrent users, 5 times higher with Varnish. With 100 concurrent users, 2 times higher, and with 50 concurrent users, about 2 times higher with Varnish. And then the response time. Again, Varnish is responding super fast. This is again the time to first byte. I'm not really sure about the 100 concurrent users. I actually checked that, because that shouldn't look like that. It should be like more steady. I'm gonna check those results again. I'm not really sure what happened. We didn't see anything on the logs, so I'm gonna check that. The difference was 187 times faster with Varnish. With 100 concurrent users, 31 times faster, and with 50 concurrent users, 50 times faster. And the remaining charts will show you how PHP 7 compares with PHP 5.6. This test in particular is for a checkout. Most of the checkout pages, my account pages, are being served under HTTPS, and Varnish doesn't like that. So that means when you go to the checkout page, when you go to the cart on the my account page, you will have your PHP version responding and not your Varnish one. That's how Varnish works if you don't have any termination, and if you do have it, most of the time it will pirate stuff. So this is how it compares with 300 concurrent users. One second. The transaction rate was almost double with PHP 7 with 100 concurrent users. The transaction rate nearly double, and with 50 concurrent users, the transaction rate was almost the same. Total transactions, you can see the degradation over there with 300 concurrent users for PHP 7. With 300 concurrent users, the transaction handle were 2 times higher. With 100 concurrent users, the transaction handle were 3 times higher. And with 50 concurrent users, the transactions handle were almost the same. And the response time. The lower one of PHP 7, the one around the top, the blue one, PHP 5.6. With 300 concurrent users, the response time was over 2 times faster. With 100 concurrent users, the response time was 3 times faster, and with 50 concurrent users, the response time was almost the same. These results are not as good as the ones we've seen with Varnish. I know this is not super good, but then again, most of the checkout pages, the cards, and everything under HTTPS will be served by your PHP version and not by Varnish. So PHP 7 is the way to go. That's quite simple, right? Now let's wrap this up. The conclusion is simple. You should be using PHP 7 anytime you can. Every customer we have, we recommend them to use PHP 7, and if they can and if they know how, use Varnish. I'm not really sure about how Varnish will behave with custom themes. I actually asked about that. There's not much in the documentation, but then one of the guys from Magento said, hey, it should work. I'm not really sure. We are still testing that. I don't know how the time to live works, the ESI and stuff like that is working here, but then again, it should work technically. So again, PHP 7 and Varnish is the way to go here. If you have any questions, or if you want to see the configs, everything is there. You can go and check it right now. I would gladly accept any pull requests or reissues or anything you want to open. I really want to show this all around the world. I'm going to be doing this presentation in the next conferences, so if you have any issues, if you have any doubts, or if you think this has any errors at all, please, Twitter, GitHub, I'll be there. I really want to improve this, and then thank you for coming. This is all. If you have any questions,